Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Technology is great when it works, isn't it? Ready, Mr. Belfield?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Pleased to see everyone here this morning for the Nash County Board of Commissioners meeting for November the 6th, 2023. It is customary for us to begin each one of our meetings with a invocation by a sitting commissioner and then a pledge of allegiance to the flag. During the time for the invocation, you're welcome to stand and join the board in that prayer. You're welcome to use that time for your own prayer, or you're welcome to use it for a moment of silence, whatever you may have on your heart this morning. And at this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Marvin Arrington to do the invocation, and then Commissioner Wayne Outlaw for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Arrington?
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come today to ask for your blessings. We ask and pray for the victims of violence, the victims of hatred, the victims of bigotry. We pray for the victims of war, the victims of gun violence, the victims of domestic violence. We pray for your love to solve all these problems that we face as human beings on this earth that we live. We pray for peaceful love, the peaceful teaching of any religion that practice peaceful and love. We pray as my faith in the name of Jesus Christ, the practices that we live by. In the name of our Father, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Would you join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioners. We are now on item number 4, and that is approval of the minutes for the previous month. During the month of October, we did have 3 meetings. Our regular meeting on October the 2nd, a recess meeting on October the 9th, and another recess meeting on October the 16th. You have those minutes on your iPads, and at the appropriate time, I would entertain a motion to approve those, add to, correct, and we can do it all together if you like, whatever you may have on your mind this morning.
Make a motion, we approve all 3 sets of minutes.
Okay, have a motion to approve all 3 sets by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Belfield. Questions on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Minutes stand approved, and always thank you, Madam Clerk, for the job your office does. Next item on the agenda is public comment, and this is an item that we have each first meeting of the month for the Board of Commissioners. It is a time when you are welcome to come forward and speak to the Board of Commissioners about anything you may have on your mind this morning that is not otherwise on the agenda. If you have it on the agenda, we would ask that you wait till it rolls up on the agenda, particularly public hearings. We do have a sign-up period out front before the meeting, and we had 2 people to sign up this morning. I will call those in the order in which they signed up, and then if somebody's here that came to speak and just didn't realize they needed to do that, we should have time to accommodate that as well. We ask you to hold your comments from 3 to 5 minutes, and ask you, of course, to use proper decorum in presenting those comments, which everyone that comes to Nash County Board of Commissioners always have, and we greatly appreciate that. First name I have is Freddie Howell. Mr. Howell, if you're here, please come forward. I'll let you state your name and address for the record, and be glad to hear from you, sir.
Good morning, Freddie Howell, 4371 Massey Road, Zebulon. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Just want to come through y'all, and if we could just bring to your attention and the severity. I think we've got a lot going on with our first responders. We've got the Station 400 in Mount Pleasant. It's been shut down 9 times during the month of October. It's been shut down an average of 38% year to date. It's putting higher call volumes on the other stations nearby. It's slowing down the response time of our first responders and putting our citizens in jeopardy. This isn't something that's just new to just come up. If you look back at the the employee turnover that we've had in the last 3 years, I think you've lost over 45 people in just EMS. You've also got 20 of those are paramedics. So just would ask the board to please consider putting this as a priority on your agenda going forward. The citizens of Southern Nash County would really appreciate that, to get your attention towards that and help save lives and help reduce injury to some of these people by getting timely response out there in the county. And just thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker that signed up is our Sheriff, Keith Stone. Sheriff, if you come up, state your name and address for the record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Keith Stone, Sheriff, Nash County. I had put in a request last week to speak on the regular agenda, and that was not afforded due to the fact that this had already been looked at, is what I was told. The reason I'm here, I sent a memo out, and I think each one of you got a memo last week. Is that correct?
Yes. I do.
Okay. And in that memo, what it's stating is a pay raise for the Nash County Sheriff's Office. We're asking for $753,000, I think it is. And I think it's been confused that we will come back and unfreeze some positions. My thought on it is, we're 13 deputies short at this time. That hampers our ability to go out and do our job. So what I'm asking is, let us work within our budget and unfreeze these positions that we're asking to freeze later in the year or next year, or when we're in a better economic position. My thought on it is, I would rather work with 5 short than 13 short. And that's what I wish you would consider. This memo depicts it all, and as I've said, it will not increase taxes because it's already in our budget. It's not going to increase any need for me to come back and say, hey, unfreeze these positions immediately. It's taken right now about a year to get a person through BLET. What I would like to see is stop the loss when I've got members leaving, going to Rocky Mount, making $25,000 more immediately, or some of these allied agencies. We're in a critical need time. As Sheriff of Nash County, I'm telling you that it's unsafe for my deputies to be out here when we're working with 5 members. We had an incident yesterday at the YMCA in Rocky Mount, a small incident. 2 patrol cars roll up to handle that situation. And I think what a good job Rocky Mounts did in building their force back up. In Nash County, 543 square miles, I don't have 2 deputies showing up on too much of anything because they're running short. 13 positions, I've got people in training, I've got people out on injury leave. It makes a difference in the safety of these people. I know it was told, well, it's the principle of it. It's not a principle of it when we have openings and lapsed salary that exceeds what I'm asking. If you utilize the lapsed salary, freeze these other positions, and then the board can determine when we're in a good enough economic position to come back and say, let's fill these positions. So I've talked to several of you. Some of you say that you're in favor of this. I wish you would consider it, talk to your other members, and let's keep Nash County safe.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else that came this morning to speak to the board, did not realize they needed to sign up? Seeing no movement, we appreciate everyone being here. We'll now move on to item number 6, which is Nash County's resolution to participate in Operation Greenlight in support of veterans. And I'll call on Anthony Rogers, head of all Veteran Services, to come forward. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's your week, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First off, I want to read something. Withhold not good from them to who it is due, when it is in thy power of thy hand to do it. Proverbs 3:27. Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners for this opportunity to honor our veterans this week for Operation Greenlight. Also, special thanks to our Commissioner Belfield, Commissioner Outlaw, for their service to our country. Our veterans have fought for our freedom and for our country and for others throughout the world. And this week, let's not forget the brave men and women who have put their lives in the line for our country. All right. Whereas the residents of Nash County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude of all the men and women who have successfully served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Nash County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans Foreign Warfares, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former veterans access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition in civilian communities annually. And whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. And whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans. And whereas the Nash County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes that specific recognition should be granted. Now, therefore, be it resolved, with designation as Green Light for veterans, Nash County hereby declares from November 6, 2023 through Veterans Day, November 11, 2023, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Nash County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residences from November 6 through November 12, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from the board at this time, or any questions of Mr. Rogers?
Yes,
Mr. Belfield?
I was just listening while you were reading it, and of course I had already read it. Other than passing the resolution, what else do you expect from the county? I know our National Association has asked all counties to honor the veterans on Veterans Day.
Yes, sir. So I would say that I would ask that anyone in the community that knows a veteran that's struggling in the time of need, please send them to our office, because there's other better benefits for veterans. We have a lot of homeless veterans and those that are in time of need, and not just the veterans, but their families also suffer. So if you know a veteran or their family that needs help, please send them to Nash County Veteran Service Office. We want to help. We want to help, and not just during this week. We don't want to forget just during this week. We want to make sure we're taking care of our veterans, because again, they did put their lives on the line for our country and our freedom. So we don't want to forget them, not just during Veterans Day, but throughout the whole year and throughout their lives, if we can help. But if you send them to Nash County Veteran Service Office, we will take care of these veterans.
Great.
Yeah, mental illness, homeless. Do you have any statistics or idea those related issues that I'm hearing on TV, on the national level. Veterans committing suicide every day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It seemed like the military before the soldiers are discharged would do an evaluation on their mental status, not just discharge them.
Yes, sir.
And if they need assistance, the military should be able to take care. I know when I was in there, in the military, which was over 6 years ago, they had a hospital. I was stationed over in Hawaii. They had a hospital over there that took care of those situations. And somehow we got to make the situation aware, because these people risk their lives for our freedom, and we certainly need to respect them when they come back home, if they get back home alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I just think we need to go further than just resolution. I'm going to vote for it, but I just hope we could do something here in Nash County
Yes, sir.
other than referring them to the Social Service Department is one thing. I know the homeless shelter in Rocky Mount is full.
Yes, sir.
And it's amazing. I ride through Pearl Street and see many of them laying out there under trees, sleeping. Now, I'm not saying they are all veterans, but some of them probably are.
Yes, sir.
And with Rocky Mount, United Community Ministries is looking at building a new homeless shelter, because the one they have it's completely full, and you can't admit anybody. And of course, they have a process where you can't stay over 6 months. You got to be.
Yes, sir.
They work with them that they can at least get a home or rent or whatever, so that they won't have to sleep outside at night. And the winter's coming, I know it's going to be tough.
That's right. Yes, sir.
That's my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Belfield. Other comments? I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Questions on that motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries as well. If I could, Mr. Belfield, Mr. Outlaw, ask y'all, I have now signed this resolution based on y'all's approval. If y'all would present it to the clerk for her signature, and we will process it. Y'all don't want to do that.
You want to walk down there and present it, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more thing I overlooked, and I apologize to our Representative Chester, who was with us this morning. I saw you before I started, then I forgot to introduce you, but glad to have you here. If you want to stand up, it's Alan Chester is our House number 25, joining us this morning. Thank you for being here. We'll now move on to item number 7, which is a joint resolution. Well, this is a long one. A joint resolution between the Edgecombe County Board of Education, the Nash County Board of Education, the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners, and the Nash County Board of Commissioners to adopt the joint draft written plan of transfer regarding the transition to county line school systems. And this has been a very long process, as most of us know, and We have to have this report to the state by the 15th of November, and I'm going to call on our attorney, Vince Durham, to make this presentation if he would, and you're welcome to do it from your seat, the podium, whatever you like to do, sir.
I'll do it right here if that's okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Do you want me to read the resolution?
I think it would be good to do that. It's taken a long time to get to this point, and
Sure.
it should be read for the record. Yes, sir.
All right, well, I won't read.
And you
the
might
ti-
want to explain
I
it,
won't read
though.
the title again because you just read it.
Okay. You might want to explain it a little bit, or I'll be
Sure.
glad to explain it a little bit, but I prefer you go ahead before you read the resolution.
This is a joint resolution to be adopted by all four boards, the two boards of education of Nash and Edgecombe County, and the Nash and Edgecombe County Boards of Commissioners, that will adopt and transmit the plans of transfer that will create a school system in Nash County and Edgecombe County that is identical to the boundaries of Nash County and Edgecombe County. In other words, there will no longer be any students from Edgecombe County that will be attending Nash County, except for those grandfathered in the high school years. This resolution will be adopted by all four boards in the next 2 days and will be used to transmit the two written plans of transfer to the State Board of Education. I'll do my best to read it. Whereas the Edgecombe County Board of Education, the Nash County Board of Education, the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners, and the Nash County Board of Commissioners are committed to providing a quality education to every child in Edgecombe and Nash counties. And whereas since the Rocky Mount City Schools merged with the Nash County Public Schools in 1991, all children living on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mount who attend public schools have matriculated to schools within the Nash County Public School System. And whereas in accordance with 2023 North Carolina Session Law 2023-37, Senate Bill 248, effective July 1, 2024, the boundaries of the Nash County School Administrative Unit shall be identical to the boundaries of Nash County in any portion of Rocky Mount previously part of the Nash County School Administrative Unit, while being located outside of Nash County, shall be annexed to the Edgecombe County School Administrative Unit. And whereas therefore, beginning with the 2024-25 school year, children residing on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mount who attend public schools will now attend the Edgecombe County Public School System. And whereas in addition to redefining the boundaries of the Nash County and Edgecombe County Public Schools to be consistent with county lines, the 2023 session law also requires the respective boards of education, in consultation with the boards of county commissioners, to submit a written plan of transfer setting forth the agreement of all four boards as to the transfer of that portion of the Nash County School Administrative Unit located in Edgecombe County to the Edgecombe County School Administrative Unit. And whereas leadership and staff of the boards have met regularly during the last year to consider, plan for, and resolve issues related to the transfer, and have now prepared and submitted for joint approval by the boards the attached written plan of transfer, which includes respective components for Edgecombe County Public Schools and Nash County Public Schools, and each of the boards does desire to authorize its respective superintendent or manager to submit the transfer plan to the State Board of Education in accordance with the 2023 session law. And whereas the boards have identified no remaining issues they believe cannot be resolved by the continuing cooperation of the parties, and whereas each board adopting the foregoing resolution does hereby express its thanks and appreciation to the remaining boards and their staff for the spirit of cooperation and the commitment to providing an excellent education to all children of Edgecombe and Nash counties that allowed all of those involved in the preparation to prepare for the adoption of the plan of transfer that will comply with all laws and regulations, permit the smooth transfer of students,
schools, assets, liabilities, and all other instructional materials from Nash County Public Schools to Edgecombe County Public Schools, and to ensure that the transfer plan accomplishes the mutual goal of the boards to provide an excellent education to all students of Edgecombe and Nash counties. Now therefore, in consideration of these and other relevant matters, the Edgecombe County Board of Education, the Nash County Board of Education, the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners, and the Nash County Board of Commissioners do hereby jointly adopt the attached transfer plan and do each direct its respective superintendent or manager to submit the transfer plan to the State Board of Education prior to November 15, 2023, in accordance with the 2023 session law adopted the 6th day of November 2023. What was on your iPad, one sentence was added late Friday afternoon at the request of the attorney for the State Board of Education, and that is the sentence that says, "The boards have identified no remaining issues they believe cannot be resolved by the continuing cooperation of the parties." All four attorneys for all four boards have approved the resolution and are requesting that each of the four boards adopt it today.
Thank you, Mr. Durham.
Yes, sir.
Questions from board members?
Yeah.
Mr. Belfield?
I'm looking at the paragraph here where it says the Edgecombe County, whereas since Rocky Mountain City Schools merged with Nash County Schools in 1901, all children living on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mountain who attend public schools matriculated to schools within the Nash County public school system. Should that be that way? Because they paired Inglewood and Baskerville. One had 1, 2, 3, and the other one had 3 through 6. So some Nash County students went to public schools on the Edgecombe County side.
I was not aware of that, Mr. Belfield. That's contrary to what I understood. This was drafted primarily by the Edgecombe County attorney.
Well, he
I don't remember anybody
may be
from Nash
new
County
and
going to
wasn't aware of
Edgecombe
it, but
I think we got,
when it was Nash, Rocky Mount,
Well,
there were
Baskerville was part of the city
Nash
schools.
students on the Nash County side, some, depending on the zone they were in, went to schools on the Edgecombe County side, like Parker.
Mr. Belfield, I think I can explain that to you. What you're referring to is physically located on the Edgecombe side. We had many kids that live in Nash County that indeed attend schools on the Edgecombe County side. But at that point, they have become schools that were in the Nash Rocky Mount school system.
Well, the resolution is not true. I mean, that paragraph
Well,
is not true.
I'm going to leave it up to the lawyers. I do see it to be
I don't
true.
plan on changing it. It's the same one going to all four boards.
Right.
I'll note your correction to the attorney for Edgecombe County.
What it says, Mr. Belfield, is that the children on the Edgecombe side that resided in the city of Rocky Mount school system, city limits at that time, then became students of the Rocky Mount Nash school system, or Nash Rocky Mount. I'm not sure which one was first in the name. But I think it's correct as written. But I understand what you're saying. And if Mr. Durham will just look at it with the other attorneys, but I actually think it's correct as written.
I think it is too. It just doesn't say Rocky Mount Nash
Right.
school system. That's
Correct.
what confuses you.
Other questions from board members? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Combs. Questions on that motion to approve the resolution? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign?
No.
That motion carries 6-1. Thank y'all. We'll now move on to item number 8, which is a resolution for Nash Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan implementation, grant application, and I'll call on Patsy McGee to make this request, and others that she may have with her.
Good morning. He's with me for the next item.
Okay, fine.
The Nash County applied for the Community Development Project Manager, has completed the Rural Community Capacity Building, or RC2 program with the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division. And as a result, the county now has the opportunity to apply for a RC2 implementation grant in the amount of $49,999. And if awarded, this grant could be used to assist Parks and Recreation with a comprehensive master plan for 2024 to 2034, and an updated comprehensive master plan is required for Nash County to compete for grant resources like the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, or PARTF, and the Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF, that have in the past and will hopefully in the future help fund capital improvements in county and municipal parks in Nash County. I will mention that the RC2 grant portal opened on October 3rd, and applications are due on November 15th, and awards are scheduled to be made November 30th. You should have in your packet a copy of a resolution which is required to be submitted with the grant application, and our recommended action is to approve the resolution, and I can read it if you would like.
Please.
Okay. Resolution for North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division Rural Community Capacity Building RC2 Implementation Grant Application for a Nash County Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan 2024 to 2034. Whereas Nash County first adopted a Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan in 2004, and whereas Nash County adopted a new Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan in 2014, and whereas to avoid a lapse in plans, Nash County will need to complete a new Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan in 2024, and whereas a comprehensive master plan is used to guide decision-making regarding the development of recreational facilities to serve county residents, and whereas an up-to-date comprehensive master plan is required for grant funding resources that the county and its municipalities utilize for capital improvements, now therefore be it resolved that the Nash County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes a grant application to be made to the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division for a rural community capacity building, or RC2, implementation grant in the amount of $49,999 to help fund a new Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Master Plan. And be it further resolved that the Nash County Manager is authorized to execute documents for this grant, adopted this 6th day of November, 2023.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Questions, Ms. McGee, on this grant application?
Yes,
Mr. Belfield?
I can assume, but I'll ask anyway. This grant is for the entire recreational program in Nash County, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Other questions? Patsy, has it really been 10 years since we did the one last, where we had the meetings out at Cooper's and so forth?
Yes, sir, and it's really been 20 years since we did the first one.
Oh, Lord, okay. No other questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Belfield, a second, please.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett.
Wilkins.
Wilkins, excuse me. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. You have the next agenda item as well, number 9, which is a community block grant neighborhood revitalization grant application.
Yes. I'd like to introduce AJ Mandingo. He's with McDavid Associates, which is our partner in preparing this Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization application. I'm going to present the item, and then AJ and I both can answer any questions that the board may have. Nash County intends to submit an application for $950,000 of Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization, or CDBG-NR funds. And this grant would be used to address housing, substantial rehabilitation, or reconstruction needs within Nash County for low to moderate income owner-occupied households. In summary, at this time, we will request the current maximum funding of $950,000. We say current maximum because once we submit it, hopefully it'll be approved. There could be more funding that becomes available, but we don't know that at this time. We will apply for CDBG-NR funds to assist with scattered site housing, substantial rehabilitation, and reconstruction. So substantial rehabilitation is repairs that are substantial, and reconstruction would be replacement housing. We gathered applications and reviewed them for eligibility. A housing selection committee was established, and as you know, a citizen, Vera Farmer of Spring Hope, was added to the housing selection committee. The Housing Selection Committee met and ranked the eligible applicants in accordance with the approved Housing Selection Committee bylaws and guidance. The Housing Selection Beneficiaries List was created from the highest 7 ranked applicants. And today we present the Housing Selection Beneficiaries List, which is in your packet, which contains 3 reconstructions and 4 substantial rehabilitations. And today we also present the required citizen participation plan to obtain citizen comments, and this is as was recommended by McDavid Associates using a template that is provided for a starting point. And today we also present the required resolution to submit an application. And today we ask you to hold the second public hearing that is required. The first public hearing was August 15th. The advertisement for today's public hearing is also in your packet. So the recommended actions are to hold the second public hearing, approve the housing selection beneficiaries list, approve the citizen participation plan, and approve the resolution to submit an application. Would you like for us to read the resolution?
I think we would.
Okay. Resolution for the Nash County Board of Commissioners to submit a 2023 Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization CDBG-NR application. Whereas Nash County has indicated its desire to assist in community development efforts for housing within Nash County, and whereas Nash County has held 2 public hearings concerning the proposed application for CDBG-NR to benefit low to moderate income owner-occupied housing within the county, and whereas Nash County desires to pursue a formal application for CDBG-NR funding to benefit low to moderate income owner-occupied housing within the county, and whereas Nash County certifies it will meet all federal regulatory and statutory requirements of the State of North Carolina Community Development Block Grant Program, now therefore be it resolved by the Nash County Board of Commissioners that Nash County is authorized to submit a formal application to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for CDBG-NR funds to benefit low to moderate income owner-occupied housing within Nash County. Adopted the 6th day of November 2023 in Nash County, North Carolina.
Any questions on the resolution or the program itself from Board of Commissioners? Only question I have, Patsy, what is the parallel between the program that, you know, we have worked on so long, that was funneled through Rocky Mount and this program, is it a substitute for that, or is it a completely different program?
This is a completely different program. We're eligible to apply as we close out another program, and usually that occurs about every 3 years for Nash County, and we are currently closing out one program, and the dollar amount has gone up for what's available in this program, but this is a different program altogether.
But it's similar type work, it appears like.
It is. In the past, there were times when CDBG-NR, you couldn't just do scattered site housing. It had to also involve another element with the main focus being on housing, for instance, stormwater improvements or a street and related stormwater improvements that assisted the houses that were right around it. But now scattered site housing is allowed, so it is a similar type program in that regard.
I see the connection now. Okay, thank you. If no other questions, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the resolution.
We need to hold a public
Excuse me.
hearing, sir.
I am out of order, I apologize. I'd entertain a motion to go into our second public hearing on this item. Can I take your motion, Mr. Arrington?
All right, so moved.
Okay, I have a motion to go into public hearing, second by Mr. Belfield. Questions on that motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a public hearing. If there's anyone here this morning that wishes to speak, has questions about, or any other thing you want to talk about on this particular program, we'd ask you to come forward at this time and state your name and address for the record. We're very fortunate to be able to participate in this, and I have been involved in something very similar for the last, I won't say how many years, on another program, and it's amazing how much we can do for our citizens through these home improvements. But if someone here, we'd certainly like to hear from you this morning. Seeing no movement coming forward, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, second by Commissioner Wilkins. Questions on that motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries as well. Patsy, we held a public hearing. No other action needs to be taken at this time, it didn't look like.
Just hold the public hearing and approve the resolution.
Okay.
And as AJ mentioned, approve the housing selection beneficiaries list and the citizen participation plan. So you need to approve those 2, 3, and 4 items. Sorry.
My instructions say a motion to hold the second public hearing, which we've done, and we've closed the public hearing. Would you mind stating what your motion needs to be now?
Yes. If you would approve the housing selection beneficiaries list, the citizen participation plan, and the resolution to submit an application.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to do just what Ms. McGee asked us to do, if that's okay.
All right, so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Arrington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Questions? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item, AJ, good to see you this morning. Thank you for all your work on the last program. Item number 10 is a monthly tax report, and I'll call on Doris Sumner at this time to make this request for, make this presentation for information only.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
At this time, I'd like to present the monthly tax report. As you all know, this report is designed to keep the board current on activities in the tax collector's office. The report is for your information only and does not require approval. However, it is recommended that you accept the report so that it will be noted in the minutes. And if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Questions on the tax report from a board member? We'll make a note in the minutes that it was received. Thank you, ma'am. And
Okay.
we'll go on to item number 11, which
Okay.
is tax refunds, which
which we do not have any for consideration.
We won't
for
stay on
today.
item number 11 long. We'll move to item number 12, which is adoption of proposed schedule of values for 2024.
Okay.
Reval, and I understand we're going to find out this morning what that percentage is going to be.
All right,
that
we'll see.
correct?
We'll see.
Much later than this morning.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, in keeping with North Carolina General Statute 105-317, Section C, the schedules of values, standards, and rules for the revaluation process shall be reviewed, approved, and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners before January 1 of the year they are to be applied. The board may adopt the schedule of values, standards, and rules to be used in the appraisal of real property at its true value and at its present use value, either separately or simultaneously. Upon approval of the final schedule of values, standards, and rules, it shall issue an order adopting them. Notice of this order shall be published once a week for 4 successive weeks in a newspaper having general circulation in the county. So within this, it's saying that you can accept the true market schedule and the present use schedule at the same time, or you could approve them separately.
Any discussion from the board?
I've got a question. What newspaper will that be that this will be circulated in?
We usually do all 3 publications, the Rocky Mount Telegram, National Graphic, and the Spring Hope Enterprise.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments? With that said, I call for a motion to approve and adopt the schedule of values. What else do I need to add to that? Schedule of values and,
Standards and schedule of values.
okay. I call for one motion to approve the standard schedule of values.
Move for approval?
Motion by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? That motion carries as well. Doris, you have one more,
Yes.
excuse me, Ms. Sumner, which is a late application.
Yes, sir.
If you would explain that to us, we don't generally see many of these.
No, sir. Presented to the Board of Commissioners for approval or denial is a late application for tax exemption for Opportunities Industrialization Center Incorporated, known as OIC. Due to a change in critical staff positions, the 5013C organization OIC missed the January 31, 2023 deadline to file an exemption for parcel 014908, located at 2039 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. If an application had been timely filed, it would have met the qualifications for exclusion and would have been exempted for tax year 2023. Based on North Carolina General Statute 105-2787 and 105-282.1, Section A1, the County Board of Commissioners has authority to approve the exemption and late application respectively. Therefore, the tax office is requesting that the board either approve or deny the late application for OIC. And in the case of this application, it was presented after the deadline that the tax office could approve it, and only the board could approve or deny at this state.
Understand. Questions from any commissioner about this process?
Mr. Chairman, I have one. The letter OIC sent is dated September 18th. Did you have any correspondence after January?
This was the first correspondence that we had received from OIC.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Do I see aware of this situation?
Yes, sir, they are.
You had any response from them?
I just spoke to, I think she's the chief financial officer, and I don't know how to pronounce her name correctly, Terari, just letting her know that we would be, the tax office would not be able to prove it, and that we'd have to present it to the board, and that we will be doing so at the November meeting. So she's aware.
And they are aware
They-
it's being presented to the
Yes,
Board
sir,
of
they
Commissioners?
are.
Other comments? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval or denial of this request.
Someone will approve.
Motion by Commissioner Arrington to approve the request. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Have 2 seconds from Commissioner Wilkins, Commissioner Belfield. Any questions on the motion? All in-
Mr. Chairman, well, I'm
Excuse-
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am.
One more thing. Ms. Sumner, have any other businesses or had to submit a letter or have been late in the past?
As far as my time, I've had one other person to apply, but they were outside of the calendar year in which to do so, so it could not come to the board.
Okay, thank you.
We have had a couple in my long time on the board, but there hasn't been many at all. But there have been some under previous, probably some of the people sitting in the room, but there have been a few, but not many. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? The motion carries as well. We'll move to item number 14.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Which is Middlesex Corporate Center, Shell Building Number 2, and I'll call on Mike Phillips to make this presentation at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Doing great. Hope you are.
So far, so good. First item I have is for the county's second shell building at Middlesex Corporate Park. Smithson has compiled the final amending change order related to the Middlesex Corporate Center Shell Building 2 project. This change order addresses a decrease in the contract amount based on credits for items that were in the contract not installed, and the reduction of $69,900 results in a final contract amount of $2,980,941. It's recommended the county commissioners approve the final amending change order and authorize the county manager to execute it on behalf of the county.
Questions on this change order? Noted it is a deduct change order.
Yeah, we welcome that.
Okay. All right, I'd entertain a motion for approval at this time.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Moved by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Wilkins. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries, sir. You also have the next item, number 15, which is an oversized agreement on an 8-inch water line for Four Seasons Contractors LLC.
Yes, sir. Should have attached the proposed oversized agreement related to the extension of county water to serve a proposed residential development on North Carolina Highway 43. The developer is Four Seasons Contractors, and they're working to develop a plus or minus 88-acre parcel at the intersection with Red Road and NC 43. In accordance with our current water and sewer main oversized agreement policy, the developer will be responsible for extending water main approximately 1,528 feet along NC 43 to reach 4 roadside lots of this 57-lot subdivision. Based on calculations provided by the developer's engineer, the 4-inch water main would be required to serve this development. Water main that was currently installed on 43 in conjunction with the Northern Ash Water System project is an 8-inch. Given the potential for extension of water main further north to serve additional county residents, it would be in the county's best interest for the water main on 43 to be an 8-inch as well, to allow for future development. Based on the currently approved policy, developers' engineers provided a cost estimate for both a 4-inch water main and an 8-inch water main. And based on that cost differential between the two estimates, the attached agreement has been drafted that would provide for reimbursing the developer up to $33,833 to upsize the proposed water main to that 8-inch. It is understood that the final amount of the reimbursement will not be determined until the project is constructed. While the time frame for reimbursement is to be established by county commissioners, the agreement has been drafted assuming 2 equal payments over 2 years, beginning in fiscal year 2024. Based on the provisions of our oversized agreement policy, it is recommended the county commissioners approve the attached agreement and authorize the chairman and the clerk to execute the same on behalf of the county. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions from any board member? I have a couple for either you or Mr. Boone. What you just read, you said an amount up to, which is the amount in here, but then you said it's not a final figure until the project is completed, which leads me to believe we could be liable for more based on bids or something else. What exactly are we saying there?
I don't think it would, it allows us to go up to that amount. If for some reason it would be less,
Okay.
we wouldn't be required to pay that full amount.
Okay.
I don't think it allows for it to go over.
So to go over is the keying on that item then?
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. The other thing I asked, is it our policy, Mr. Boone, that we pay over a 2-year period, which seemed to be a burden on our developers, or do we look at each one of them? How does that work?
The policy allows for up to 2 years, but we can't pay quicker than that. In this case, we probably would, because we'll be taking a portion of this work out of our Phase 2 contract. The intent will be to use that same source of funds to reimburse the developer.
Okay. All right,
It
but
just
I-
gives us the flexibility if we need it.
Yeah, so if we were to have a large one, we do have up to 2 years. That
Correct.
makes sense, but you thinking we'll pay it in 1 year, this not so large amount. Okay, thank you. No other question, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Commissioner Arrington, second by, a second, please.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Outlaw. Questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carried as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I noticed your boss treated you well by letting you have the deduct change orders, and he kept the add change orders. So, Mr. Boone, Nash County Detention Facility addition and renovation change order.
I'm just hoping Commissioner Arrington will be kind to me.
Okay.
So the item I have before you is indeed a additional change order on the Nash County Detention Facility Project, Change Order 9. As you can see, the amount of that change order is $63,974.50. The most significant item of which is related to some additional work that was needed in one of the secured hallways in the existing portion of the building, the old north-south block, as part of that project. And then we had 3 other miscellaneous items totaling $6,386.99. So the recommendation is for the board to approve change order 9 in the amount of $63,974.50. And as you can see, that will adjust the overall contract amount. Amended contract amount will now be $18,465,072.17. Should this change order be approved, that will bring the total amount of change orders to $829,637, which is about 4.7% of the contract. We'll remind you, however, that there were several elective items, I should say, in that amount for some blocks that the sheriff wanted upgraded in the special housing unit. Also, some of the building automation system that accounted for about $371,000. So really, items that have been incorporated into the contract for things that maybe were not adequately anticipated when Mosley Architects prepared the design, only ends up being about $457,899, or 2.6% of the contract. And then the final thing I'll say on this particular change order, that the revisions in the secured hallway, the $57,587, you may recall, I approached the board back in August, I believe it was the August meeting. There were a number of items that I've been talking to Mosley Architects about, either omissions or errors on the project, and this $57,000 change order, or this $57,000 item, which is incorporated into this change order, was one of those items, and the county will be receiving about a $33,000 credit on the work that they're doing as part of the project. So I just want to make you aware of that before you vote on this item today. But nonetheless, it still changes the contract amount, if approved, to an amended total of $18,465,072.17. With that said, I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Boone? Mr. Arrington?
What percentage of change orders you say that the standard for most projects?
Zero.
Well, I would say for a project, for a new construction project, certainly you would expect the percentage to be much lower. Typically, we would try to, if we had the budget, we try to allow for about at least 5% to give us some contingency in the project. With a project like we had with the jail, where a large portion is new construction, that new 94-bed addition was a brand-new building, but we're also doing a lot of renovation work in the existing 1970s portion of the project. So I would expect that number to drift higher than 5%. But on a larger project, you would expect that percentage to be lower. So it's kind of hard for me to give you a metric other than to say rule of thumb. I would typically like to see about 5% contingency in a project. And where we're at right now, if we take out those elective items where we're upgrading the locks in the shoe, where we upgraded the building automation system for the existing portion of the building that's not being touched by the project that is underway right now, that added about $500,000 to the project, again, it brings us to about 2.1%. So it's a big number, but if we look at the overall project, it's only 2%. So we'd like for the number to be zero. We'd always like for the project we bid to be the project that we build. But there are things that you can't always anticipate, and that necessitates change orders like the ones we're discussing today.
All right. Other comments? One thing, and I forgot to mention that to you earlier this morning, small item, but on the fire extinguisher, it's something in here that's confusing. In one place, it says it is a display board, and then it says it's a fire extinguisher cabinet, which I don't know that a fire extinguisher cabinet would cost us $2,445. I don't know what one costs in the jail, but you might want to look at that and try to clear that up.
Okay.
It says a visual display board is that cost, so I don't know what it is. Anyway, we can approve it, then if you would just sort that out.
Okay.
Entertain a motion for approval of this request at this time.
Move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Combs. Questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries as well. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I need to be excused. I have an emergency.
Okay, ma'am. Why don't we take a very short recess at this time? Is that okay with everybody?
That's
Take a
fine.
5-minute recess.
Okay.
call us back in session at this time and would ask the clerk to note that after item number 16, Ms. Wilkins received an approved absence for the rest of the meeting. And at this time, I'd call on Donna Wood for item number 17, which is an animal facility capital project ordinance amendment. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So my first item that I have for you is a project ordinance amendment. The attached project ordinance amendment for the animal facility is presented to budget demolition costs and additional contingency for the animal facility project that's coming from construction material sales tax refunds to Nash County.
Any questions on this item?
I've got a question.
Sure.
Those sales tax refunds, was that for that project in particular, or is that other projects as well?
It's specifically for that project.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Entertain a motion for approval of the capital ordinance amendment.
Move for approval?
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, second by Commissioner Leggett. Questions on the motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries, ma'am. Item number 18 is 2017 Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Disaster Recovery, which came from Hurricane Matthew project closeout.
Okay. The attached ordinance is presented to close out the fiscal year 17 Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Disaster Recovery Project. The North Carolina Housing Finance Agency awarded Nash County 2017 Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Disaster Recovery Project funds. These funds assisted in rehabilitating 13 houses in Nash County that had been impacted by Hurricane Matthew. The original award was $150,000, but Nash County and McDavid Associates worked to access pool funds to increase the budget to $850,000, of which we were able to use $562,529. And the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency was able to use the remaining funds in other areas more significantly impacted by Hurricane Matthew. The project was completed as required. However, this closeout project ordinance is to provide documentation for formal closing of the project for reporting in the finance accounting system.
Questions on this item? It was primarily used to purchase the 3 homes that we purchased.
No, these were 13 houses that we assisted with the Hurricane Matthew.
Okay, we assisted out, okay. I'm thinking about something else, thank you. Any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval of the project ordinance.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Harris, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cole. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Item number 18 is approved. Number 19 is Elm Street Drainage Project CDBG Disaster Recovery Project Ordinance. Ms. Wood?
Okay, the attached amendment for the Elm Street Drainage Project Disaster Recovery Ordinance is to adjust the Elm Street Drainage Project to reflect revenue received from North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resilience and for the North Carolina Commerce Department and their related expenses. North Carolina Commerce increased their funding by $6,686, and North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency just under $3,000.
Questions on this item? Motion to approve the project ordinance amendment.
Move for approval?
Moved by Commissioner Leggett. A second, please.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Heritage. Questions on that motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Item number 19 is approved. Item number 20 is Middlesex Corporate Center Phase 2 Infrastructure Improvements, Sewer, Water, and Electric. Ms. Wood?
Okay. After receiving bids for Middlesex Corporate Center Phase 2 infrastructure improvements, which includes sewer, road, and electric improvements, the projected cost is $5,063,348. Previously, Nash County worked with the Wooden Company to secure 3 grants for sewer, electric, and road improvements in Middlesex Corporate Center. Golden Leaf committed $500,000 for sewer improvements. The North Carolina Department of Commerce committed $1,681,230 for sewer, electric, and road improvements from the Industrial Development Fund, and North Carolina Department of Transportation committed $400,000 in Economic Development Program funds for road improvements. Now to assist with additional infrastructure improvements, Nash County again worked with the Wooten Company to secure another grant for sewer improvements for an added scope for economic development. The North Carolina Department of Commerce has committed an additional $750,000 from the Industrial Development Fund for sewer improvements, increasing its total commitment to $2,431,230. The 3 grants committed to the project now total $3,331,230. The attached amendments presented to adjust the grant project budget ordinance to reflect the additional revenue to be received from North Carolina Department of Commerce Industrial Development Fund.
Any questions on this item?
I've got another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Donna, can you walk me through some of the revenues for the project? Two lines in particular. The Industrial Development Funds, where do those funds come from in particular? And then also the Middlesex Corporate Center Phase 1, the $296,000, is that just from the first project being rolled into the second project?
Yes.
Expanding the infrastructure improvements?
So for the transfer from the other project, that project was closed out and the funds remaining moved into this Phase 2 project approved by the board through an ordinance. And then with the Industrial Development Fund, that's the North Carolina Commerce money that we're budgeting today, the $750,000 additional funds that they've added.
Okay, thank you.
I would say that Mr. Elijah Daughtry has always served on that board, or has done it for quite a while, and responsible for helping the county quite a bit. I wasn't aware of it, but when we got this $750, I called him to thank you, and he had rotated off the board, and they had appointed Gus Tullis to go on the board, and actually Gus made that motion at that meeting and got that fund. So as you see Mr. Tullis around, congratulate him on being on the board, and also thank him for the $750,000 that he got us at his first meeting, and the first item on the meeting, I was told. So it's good to have somebody local from the Twin County area to look after us, and I think Gus will do a great job as well. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the project ordinance.
Make a motion, we approve the project ordinance.
Well, let me look at that again. I think we are
Project amendment.
approving a project ordinance amendment. Motion by Commissioner Combs, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Item number 20 stands approved as well. Item 21 is the standard budget amendments for the month. I think there's 7 of them, Ms. Wood.
Okay. The following budget amendments are presented for the board's consideration for the current fiscal year '24. The first item I have is with Cooperative Extension Farmers Market. This budget amendments to budget sponsorship funds received to support the Farm City Breakfast and Farm City Calendar. It's $4,000. No county funds are required. The next item is with the Sheriff's Office Governor's Crime Commission grant. This budget amendments to budget travel for year 2, beginning October 1st for the accreditation grant. It's $2,200 related to travel. No county funds are required. The third item I have is with the Health Department. This budget amendments to budget funding provided through the American Rescue Plan Act and will be used to expand communicable disease surveillance, detection, control, and prevention activities to address COVID and other communicable disease-related challenges impacted by the COVID pandemic. This funding will be used in part to purchase COVID-19 vaccine and related supplies, promoting the availability of COVID-19 vaccinations, and developing and disseminating educational resources about COVID-19. It's $343,652. No county funds are required. The next item I have is with Department of Social Services. This budget amendments to adjust administrative funds from the state budget for fiscal year 2024. These additional administrative funds will be used for increased cost of fleet vehicles to support social worker functions. The amendment also is to decrease crisis intervention benefit payments due to a decrease in county-issued checks. Most vendors are now receiving payments directly from the state through electronic deposits. It's actually a decrease in the budget of $206,593. No county funds required. The next item I have is with Senior Services. This budget amendments to budget an increase in the general purpose grant funding. It's an increase of $4,674. No county funds are required. The next item is with the State Controlled Substance Fund, separate from the general fund. This amendment is to budget fund balance from the State Controlled Substance Fund to purchase LEO equipment. It's a request of $20,000 from their fund balance. No county funds are required. And the number 7 I have is for Nash County Public Schools, Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund. This amendment is to budget funding from the Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund through the lottery for Nash Central High School final phase of the kitchen re-roofing. It's $120,000. No county funds are required.
You have 7 budget amendments. Any questions on either of those? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval of all 7.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, second. Second by Commissioner Belfield. Questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? That item is approved as well, number 21. And item number 22, Ms. Wood, your last item is a budget amendment and deed transfer for 45% of 500 Nash Medical Arts Mall, Rocky Mount.
Okay. I'm going to start with the budget amendments. We have funding available in our capital reserve fund related to the home health sale. And this budget amendment is presented to transfer reserve capital funds to the general fund for capital funding related to the facility that was previously occupied by mental health services. It's a request of $2,300,000 to be transferred to the general fund. And then the second item I have is for public buildings. This budget amendment is presented to budget the funds that are requested in the first item from transfer to use towards the fifth facility that was previously occupied by mental health services to purchase Edgecombe County's interest in the facility, 45%, as well as provide funding for the initial building use, including architectural fees, permitting, repairs and maintenance, and utilities. It's a request of $2,300,000.
Okay, if I'll just do a brief update on that. It's been a while since we addressed this, but if you recall, when we sold our home health business, we sold it for $2 million. We did at that time commit to utilize those funds for something health-related in Nash County. We put those in the fund balance, in the committed fund balance, and we also have been waiting for quite a while with the East Point situation to purchase, because the building is located on the hospital campus, Edgecombe County's part, which is 45% from them, so Nash County would own the entire building, but the attorneys recommended that we not do that until all matters concerning East Point were resolved, and we've gotten close to resolving them, but I do want to say they're not quite all resolved at this point, but anything to do with the building is resolved, with the exception of the back parking lot, which Edgecombe County, I guess in short, and I'll let Mr. Durham straighten this out, but in short, does own a portion of that, but really and truly, we don't have the title to it, Nash or Edgecombe, either one. The Edgecombe County chair asked me recently, could we possibly go ahead and move forward with the purchasing of the 45% since of the building itself, since that matter has been resolved, and even though we'll get an update in closed session where we are. But I feel like it's best that we certainly go ahead and move forward with this purchase. We got a price that was agreed upon that is, I think, very fair, and so rather than delay it any longer, and we have funds and fund balance designated for this item, and the fact that maybe Edgecombe County could utilize the funds at this time, it would be prudent for us to move forward with it. And I'd ask Mr. Durham to clean up anything I said that was incorrect.
No, you said it exactly correctly.
Okay.
The price is basically based on the tax value of the total building.
Correct. Any questions on this item? See none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the budget amendment. State it for me.
So approve the budget amendments The capital reserve fund transfer, fund balance appropriation transfer to the general fund, and then the general fund appropriation to use towards the purchase of the building and related expenditures for putting that building in use.
Thank you, ma'am. Entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, second by Commissioner Combs. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carries as well, which is item number 22. Thank you, ma'am. We're now on item number 23, which is Commissioner wishing to make comments, and at this time, I'll open up to the floor for any commissioner that wishes to make a comment.
I've got a comment that I'd like to make.
Sure.
So as the wife of a 30-year volunteer fireman in Nash County and the mother of 2 junior firemen, public safety in our county is near and dear to my heart. I'll always stand with our first responders of our county. It seems that over time, public safety may have been put on the back burner, whether it be because of the growth that our county's experienced, or maybe COVID or budgetary constraints. But attention is needed in the area of public safety, especially in the southern end of the county. I'm committed to resolving any personnel issues that there may be in the county departments that cover public safety, which includes Sheriff's Office, Fire, and EMS. First responders work under extraordinary conditions and environments that almost no other county department works under. The life-saving measures that they perform daily are appreciated and do not go unnoticed by this elected official, and they have my commitment that I'll continue to advocate for them every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Leggett. Did you have anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay. Other commissioners with comments?
I just have one.
Yes, sir.
When I got on this board, one of the first things I did was fought, and sometimes it was a battle to get another EMS unit in southern Nash County in the Middlesex Fire Station. But we stuck with it, and we got it July 1st of 2017, and it's been there ever since. You know, that put us with 3 units in southern Nash County, one backing up the other. And since COVID, you know, we've had a health shortage. People come, maybe we're behind in pay, you know, different things. But the thing we got to remember, I'll set the record straight a little bit. 400 Station, which is Mount Pleasant, was closed down 3 times in October, and 4 times a half shift was closed down when they didn't have enough people to man those shifts. There's always a paramedic close by. He may be in that building, or he may be going on a call, but he's always there. The important thing to remember here is that response time has not changed. We're in that 9.2 minute response time category, and I think that's important, that hadn't changed just because the station's closed. They've got a lot of technology that tells us where that truck, or tells them where that truck is, and they can get it from point to point quickly. So I think we've got to bear with it. I'm always ready to do what it takes to improve our EMS system, our public safety system, sheriff's department, whatever, but we got to remember you can't do everything overnight. And as long as we stay as efficient as we've ever been, yeah, I'd like for it to be 5 minutes, not 9, but you realize then that you'd have to have a EMS station on every corner, and you can't do that. So I think we're doing pretty good with and we'll continue to do what we can to improve the public safety system in Nash County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. Other comments from commissioners? Mr. Belfield?
I was looking at this letter here that was sent to our county manager. No, but anyway, what it was talking about, praising the Nash County first responders up there in the pilot area, which is really Franklin County. When the lady fell, hit her head.
Yes, sir.
They didn't have a EMS that could respond to that, and Nash County did. And I think this is great that we can help out another county in a time of need like that. And the lady was admitted to the hospital because of her fall. And they didn't say what condition she is in now, but it was thanking and praising the Nash County first responders for what they did in responding to that, because Franklin County couldn't respond to it at the time, and it was an emergency.
So, along your comments, it seems like if elected officials let our employees work things out, that's a good example of EMS, and there's many others, recreation goes right on down the line. They find ways to make things work, and we got to continue as elected officials to find ways to make things work with our adjoining governmental agencies. I've never seen a time when particularly public safety didn't do what it takes, and our recreation department as well. It's amazing to me how well they work together with the adjoining ones in the town in Nashville or Rocky Mount, either one. But that was a nice letter to get, and it just shows what mutual aid will do for you. And of course, when we go to our quarterly or every 2-month meetings with our EMS department, you always got representatives from the city of Rocky Mount there and joining in those meetings. So they seem to do a much better job than what we as a board do sometimes, and I'm just saying that to say I hope all boards will continue to do our best to work together and find those common grounds. Mr. Combs, to address your comment, I remember 2017, and I remember how persistent you were about Middlesex having an EMS station. You made the comment it wasn't easy to get it done, and maybe I was one of them in your way, I don't know, but I'm frugal, and sometimes too frugal for the county's own good, but you stuck with it, you got it done, and I know your people in your district greatly appreciate that, and I appreciate you bringing up the fact that, because I studied quite a bit at the end of last week and the weekend on response times and so forth, a lot of questions that I asked, and I think you and Sue know that I've asked for a meeting to be held next week when Tony Cameron gets back to dive into that situation in the southern part of the county and come up with some ideas to do that. But the response time, as you said, has not gone down. In fact, it's a tad bit better than the county average. And when you get in the more populated areas, Nashville, particularly more so Rocky Mount, the response time, you would expect it to go down. There's some long distances in the southern part or in Mr. Arrington's district between point A to point B. And to maintain right at 9-minute call time, I think is excellent, and that just shows the dedication and the staff that we have. I am keenly aware, more so than I was 2 weeks ago, of the need to look at somehow coming up with ways to retain our more educated or the higher level of people in the EMS department to keep those. I think we can get all the entry levels we want, it seems like, but then you got to keep them once you get them through school. And there's ways that we're going to come up with to do that. But I want to thank you and Sue for what y'all have advocated in the southern part of the county as it relates to public safety, and this board, I'm sure, will continue to work with you on that. A couple other things I had to go over. Housing report, it was still a good month, not quite as strong as some in the past, but we're getting in the wintertime. We had 46 new home permits applied for in the county this last month, which includes stick-built as well as modular. They were applied for by 28 different builders. I think it's amazing that we have that many builders working in Nash County. Our commercial permits equaled $1.23 million for various projects. The biggest one was some upfit work in apparently one of the shell buildings out in Nashville's industrial park. The other thing I wanted to bring up, if the commissioners would look at their calendars, and if any commissioner wants to hold a holiday dinner or a function as Mr. Outlaw did last year, that would be great. I have asked my wife prior to coming today, and she agreed to host it if the board wishes us to. And if so, we will look at it maybe December the 14th, which is a Thursday night, to do that for the Board of Commissioners as well as the administrative staff. So if somebody else wants to come forward and do it, that would be wonderful. If you wish for us to do it, I'm sure she'll do a great job of it. And the 14th, if you could just let me know what you look like on that. That has not got to be set in stone, but just to look at that as a potential date. And you just pass it along to me, because you kind of expect me to come home with an answer probably today, but it can wait another day or two if we need to. The other thing I'd like to accomplish this morning is, y'all know we got a tremendous amount of money out of the General Assembly this year. I'm not going to quote a number, but it's large, over $30 million, and we've got quite a few capital improvement projects coming forward that and I'm of the opinion that if we have our board included in the design and initial stages of these capital improvement projects, that we are more informed. The board committee can keep keep the whole board informed, and it will make it less easier on the backside, I think, if we are in it the whole time. And where I'm going, I'd like to appoint a new capital improvement committee of commissioners, and what I'd like to ask to do is, I try to do each time, is have the 3 Democrats on the board to give me a name that y'all can pick that would serve on that committee, and the 3 Republicans to give me a name that would serve on that committee. And we will start working with the manager and Mr. Boone in moving forward with these projects. You got another jail improvement plan we need to do. We got a tremendous amount of water and sewer. We were blessed with a lot of funds to do that. We've got a warehouse to build. We got a upfit now that we have agreed to purchase the old Nash Edgecombe Mental Health Building. We got a major renovation coming up on that, whatever the decided use of this board may be for that, and numerous other ones in there. So if you could possibly come to that decision pretty quick today, if possible, we will set that committee and put it in motion. And I think that's all I have. Anything else from the board members? Ms. Leggett.
I'd just like to add, just as board members have time, ride by the Highway 97 site and see what's going on down there. After all the years of that sitting dormant, it's pretty exciting to see that big building going up.
Thank you for that. I have more questions on that right now than I do anything else. And I didn't know that many people traveled 97, but they must. It is a great-looking building going up. Thank you for bringing that up. No other comments? Next item on the agenda is manager report. Ms. Axel, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to take a moment to make some comments, address some statements that have been made in the media recently. I've been called deceptive or incompetent by our county sheriff, which is alarming and simply without merit. I can provide clarity for anyone who is interested in the facts. This information has already been provided to the sheriff and his staff, and he has chosen to ignore it and go into public and say the things that he's saying. I have worked for Nash County for 23 years. I too am a tax-paying citizen reliant on the services that the county has to offer, and I want the very best for our employees and our citizens. I work for 7 educated, intelligent commissioners. I know the training they receive and the knowledge that they must have to fill the seats that they're in. I know that every single piece of data that I provide to the board, I must be able to back it up, and I can. There's not a single commissioner on this board that is without the information they need to make the best decisions for the citizens of this county. I'm proud to work for this board. I know their time investment. I know the seriousness that they place on their role and responsibilities, and how much they care about you, the citizens of Nash County and the county's future. Do not ever let someone make you believe that they are making uninformed decisions. That is simply not true. I have 3 points of clarification to make today. Number 1 is about the 4 vacancies that continues to be a topic of discussion that I referred to in my presentation to the board on September the 6th. The 4 vacancies was out of 26 patrol positions in the sheriff's office budget. The sheriff has multiple budgets, one for the sheriff's office, one for court security, one for school resource officers, one for the detention center, and there are several more. When the sheriff talks about recruiting and attracting educated professional deputies that would come to your home or respond to your call, he's not referring to court security, school resource officers, or detention officers. He's referring to patrol deputies, and those are in the sheriff's office budget. That is where the number 4 came from. On the date I reported that number, it was accurate, and on any given day, we can let you know how many vacancies are in each of the sheriff's office budget. My point of clarification number 2 is about the sheriff's office salaries that were provided in my slide on salaries and positions. Up until fiscal year 2023, salaries had a hiring rate, a minimum rate, and a maximum rate. The salaries I presented were the hiring rates that Nash County would advertise for a position when we are recruiting. In fiscal year 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved a budget that allowed the sheriff to change his hiring and employment system to a rank and pay system. The board also approved for the sheriff to have a senior deputy and master deputy positions created for career growth. None of the salaries that I presented were incorrect. They are factual hiring rates for those positions for those fiscal years. My third point of clarification is the slide that I provided on the history of the sheriff's office budget. There were original budget numbers provided and revised budget numbers provided. For the years up to fiscal year 21, all original budgets and revised budgets had sheriff's capital expenses included. In fiscal year 21, the county stopped putting capital in departmental budgets until they were ready to spend that capital. This is allowing the county to track capital expenses much more efficiently. So from fiscal year 21 on, original budgets do not have capital in them, but revised budgets do. Capital was added to the fiscal year 24 original budget to show all of the funds for the current year that are being allocated to the sheriff's office. The statement that capital has never been in departmental budgets is an incorrect statement. My staff and I stand ready to continue to work with the sheriff and his staff on a strategy that we can all agree on moving forward that is sustainable. Using lapsed salaries in the current budget to increase salaries, which are reoccurring future expenses, is not a sustainable use of the funds. As one could imagine, there are many more things that I would like to say, but out of respect for myself and this board and the employees, I will stop here. If there are any other questions about the data that I presented, I'll be glad to hear from the public and answer their questions. I have a couple more announcements to make for the board today. County offices will be closed this Friday, November the 10th, in observance of Veterans Day. The 2023 Farm to City Week breakfast will be November the 14th at 8 a.m., and that's at the Agriculture Center this year. Just want to make sure that you know the right place to go to. It's not going to be at the farmer's market. It's at the Agriculture Center this year. The board will convene a recessed meeting on Tuesday, November the 14th at 11 a.m. in the Commissioner's Room, in this room, for the Duke Site Readiness presentation. And we might have a tour following that. So Mr. Boone is coordinating with the Sheriff's Office to possibly be able to take the board on a tour of the new addition to the detention center.
Phase 1.
Phase 1. Then on Monday, November the 20th, the board will convene another recessed meeting at Nash Community College to be hosted by Dr. Honeycutt for a lunch and a tour of the campus. Is that noon?
That's 12 to 2:30.
Okay, so at 12, we will convene that meeting on Monday, the 20th. County offices will be closed on Thursday, November 23rd, and Friday, November 24th, in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. And then the last item that I had was to schedule a date for honoring the new pavers, the individuals that are on the new pavers in our commemorative courtyard, Miss Mary Wells and Mr. Claude Mayo. Those pavers have been installed, and we're ready to schedule a ceremony for that. And I apologize, my week got cut short last week, and so I will be in touch with some possible dates, and we'll figure out when we're going to have that ceremony. And that's all I have.
Any questions of the manager on her report?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Last item on the agenda is to call for a closed session. Closed session is for attorney-client privileges, a personnel matter, and an economic development update from our economic development office. And at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Moved by Mr. Belfield. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Arrington. Questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries, and we will convene back in the Commissioners' chambers to recess the meeting until a future date when we're going to have the Alliance update. But we'll talk about that when we come back out. And
The date already
closed
set.
session.
Isn't that
Sir?
date already set?
Sir?
I thought I heard you say future date.
I did, but I don't have it before me. It is already set, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's already set.
Yep. It is indeed set. Actually, it is November the 14th
Right.
at 11 a.m.
Whoa.